Hi, this is Piano Lessons for Beginners Lesson 2. In this lesson is pitched completely for beginners, so don't worry if you've never played piano before. This is designed for you. We're going to be looking at Can't Hold Us by Macklemore today. Before we start, we're going to have to I'm going to run over very quickly the things that we did in Lesson 1. So if you want to go through all those things in full detail, find Piano Lessons for Beginners Lesson 1. You'll find it on my channel, but for now I'm going to quickly run over those things, so you should be able to do this lesson without going back to lesson 1 if you want to. So quickly running over the things that we learned in lesson 1. Basically, in lesson 1 we learned how to play root position chords. Now there's 3 ways of playing chords. There's root position, first inversion and second inversion, and in order to play piano properly, or play in the way that I'm going to teach you, you need to know all 3 of these inversions. So this lesson today is designed to teach you the second 2 of these inversions, so that by the end of the lesson you'll hopefully be able to play all 3 inversions. The first thing we need to do is run over what we did in lesson 1. The first thing I'm going to say is this: there are 12 keys on piano. A key is basically a selection of notes. Now, if I tried to teach you to play in all 12 of these keys, it would be very, very difficult. So what I'm going to do to make things easier to start off with is move all songs into C major, and we're going to play everything that we're going to do in C major to keep things really simple, and then gradually we'll learn new keys as time goes on. So for now, we're just going to work in C major. Now, first of all, I need to explain to you a bit about the keyboard and where the notes are. Let's locate a C first. You'll see that the keyboard has 2 black notes, followed by 3 black notes, followed by 2 black notes, followed by 3 black notes, all the way along. Now a C is located next to the 2 black notes. That's a C. Okay, you zoomed in for that? So you've got 2 black notes followed by 3 notes, black notes, and the C is located next to the 2 black notes. Then you have a C an octave higher, is next to the next 2 black notes. Next to the next 2 black notes, you get a C again. So you need to be able to quickly identify where the C's are in order to play piano. So then next to the 2 black notes, the cluster of 2, not the cluster of 3, the cluster of 2. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to play a C major scale, which is the selection of notes we're going to be using for this piece. Now, first of all, put your thumb on a C. Here we go. And then you're going to run up 3 notes. I'm not sure whether I explained quickly that the C major is just white notes. So basically all the pieces we're going to use are just going to use white notes, which keeps things really simple. So sorry, to go back to our C scale. You begin with your thumb on C, then you run up 2 notes with those 2 fingers, and then you put your thumb underneath, and then you play the next F, G, A, B, C with the last of those fingers. So it goes C, D, E, thumb underneath, F, G, A, B, C. And just to explain, the way the notes work, it's lettered from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then it goes back to A again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. But we're starting on C, so it goes C, D, E, 3 fingers, thumb goes underneath, F, G, A, B, C. So that's the C major scale, and that's all the notes that we're going to use for this lesson. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you a bit about the scale and the notes that are found in the scale. Hopefully you can see this. Does that look all right, Callum? Yeah? Good. This is your C major scale. Ignore the bit at the bottom. That's the piece we're going to be playing. In our C major scale, as you can see, we have 8 different notes. The first one is C. It goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C again. So the first important thing to point out is there is only 7 different notes in the C major scale, which means in a simple pop song, which just uses the notes of a basic scale, will only have 7 different notes, which keeps things really simple. Now, the next thing you're going to need to know is that you can make a chord from each one of these notes. So you can have a chord of C, chord of D, chord of E, chord of F, chord of G, chord of A. But the important thing to know is that in pop music, you tend not to have a chord on 7. So actually, you only have 6 different chords in a simple pop song, and that's really cool because it means there's only 6 chords you have to learn to play a simple pop song. So the next thing I'm going to teach you is how to play these chords. In the first lesson, we learned. Where should I put this? Is that all right there, Callum?
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe a bit further to the left.
To the left, this way.
Yeah.
Okay, in the first lesson, we learned to play root position chords. So I'm just going to quickly teach you, again, how to play a root position chord. Now, basically what you do is you take a note from the scale, then we can take C, and then you go 2 notes up the scale, take the next note, 2 notes up the scale, and you can take that note, and that's a chord. Basically, that's how you play a basic triad chord, okay? So that's a chord of C. Then this is a chord of D. It's actually a D minor. We're not going to deal with minors and majors yet. So that's a chord of D, chord of E, chord of F, chord of G, and then a chord of A. You just literally move them up to get each of the chords. So C we're going to call chord 1. So that's chord 1. Then that's chord 2, chord 3, chord 4, chord 5, and chord 6. So that's the first thing you need to learn, is how to play all those 6 chords, because that's going to be the chords that we're going to use for all the pieces we learn in the early stages, okay? So get used to playing that. Now, as I mentioned in the first lesson, quite often when you start, you'll find that that finger goes down as well. And if that's the case, you've got to, I suggest you just press all of them together and then lift that finger up. The idea eventually is you learn to lift those 2 fingers up and that these 3 will play independently. Encourage you to use these 3 fingers. Don't cheat and try using them. Use those 3 fingers because you're going to need that when we start introducing the other inversions. Okay, so that's part 1. And in a moment, you should play straight through, if you've got it on the full playlist, it should play straight through into lesson 2. But that is the end of part 1 of this lesson, and now if you go to part 2, you'll find out the next part of this lesson.